South Sea Island teams. You know, you win the game early, but you score the points later. And what we mean by that is, you know, you keep hold of the ball, you frustrate them, you don't allow them to get into their game. You take the momentum, you take the emotion out of the game. That's the big key for the Canadians.
So leading the charge there was Tuifua, the Samoan number 8, and this is how they started against Australia in June of last year when they surprised the Wallabies on their home turf. They stole an early march and won that game, and that was a proud day for the South Sea Islanders.
Yeah, once again, quick ball there. Great crossfield kick early doors, and you saw the physicality there when that first player took the ball in right over the top of the Canadian defender. But you can see there, the Canadians, a couple of the tackles, getting that line speed, getting low, chopping them down. Don't allow them to get that momentum, and certainly don't allow them to offload that ball.
So Samoa, again, on the charge then. It's big number 8 looking to do the damage.
Good tackle there by the Canadians, stopping them on the gain line. That's what they need to do. They can't allow them to gain the momentum.
Professor Tregorin is a popular Sam's squad player. Part of the victorious Sam's squad that won the HSBC Sam's World Championship in 2010.
Yeah, Samoa still getting that quick ball, just getting around the fringes. They're not massively busting that game line, but they're just getting in front of it. But Canada, they're doing well. They're not committing too many numbers. Only one player off his feet there. They've got that line there. See that early nomination. Line speed here, chop him down.
Jeremy Sua with a short pass to Ole Avei, the Samoan hooker. 2 or 3 interesting newcomers in this Samoan lineup this evening, none more so than the man wearing the 12 shirt, Sete Maite Sa. And this, would you believe, is his first ever game of rugby union. The former league representative, that's Zach Taulafo.
Well, nothing like being thrown in at the deep end. I'm sure if he's playing league, he'll have great natural skills, but it's all about those intricacies of the game, you know, those little things defensively.
Alongside him is George Pisi, came in late to the squad. You consider that they've got Selala Mapasua not even on the bench this evening, and other players. Besides, that's the strength, the depth of Samoan rugby, and we welcome viewers from Samoa, from North America, as well as New Zealand, joining us here at Arias Park in Colwyn Bay.
Being very patient, the Samoan side here, going through the phases, looking after the ball really well. There doesn't seem to be any panic. They know their patterns of play. Hit the forwards, recycle the ball. They're doing well in the contact area, getting in that clean ball.
And already we see a marked difference between this game and the previous game between Russia and the US of A.
Yeah, you can certainly see that the players are a lot more comfortable at the pace, the intensity, but they understand what they need to do. You can see that everyone's clear in their roles.
So a chance here for Samoa, spreading it wide early on to Paul Perez, back inside to George Pisi, brought down 5-8 meters short perhaps of the Canadian try line. There it is, beckoning in the background. Plenty of blue shirts out on the left here. The ball is tied up. Illegally done so, says Mr. Pastrana.
Yeah, they look very dangerous, Samoans there. You can see what their game plan is. Use those big forwards, just running off line. 3 forwards outside line, hit them up, suck in those Canadian defenders. Then when they shorten that defensive line, get it out to those guys with the speed on the inside. There's no point them launching their backs if they've got a full defensive line. What they need to do is they need to shorten that defensive line. Great to see they're going for a scrum here. Fantastic.
Is it any surprise? I'm looking at the stats here, and the average weight of that Samoan pack is in the region of 112. The front 5 average 118 kilograms as opposed to 111 kilograms for the Canadians. And the vast majority of that difference is down to the man on the tight head. That's Census Johnson.
He's certainly a big individual. Played against him a few times, and he is absolutely massive. But he's another one of these new breed of props. You know, he can scrummage, we've seen that, but he can get around the field, he can carry the ball, he's got a great turn of pace. But what he's also got, like a lot of these South Sea Island players, fantastic hands, the ability to get their hands free and offload in the tackle.
The headgear in the middle of that front row is Wayne Ole Avei. He plays his rugby for the Bordeaux Bègles club in the south of France. Huge gap on the right side. Driving through the Samoans, and here comes the number 8 once again. his ball in the hand a couple of times earlier on. Tayasina Tuifua, the 6th cap for Samoa, ex-Taranaki player, Rugby World Cup squad member as well. First blood then to the Islanders.
Yeah, great work here. You know, he took the ball, obviously know what they're going to do. Any free kicks on the scrum, give it to the 8. He's a big ball carrier, he's seen early on in the game, but quick tap, runs straight at the 9, bit of a mismatch and a well-taken try. But for me, that comes from the patience early on. They must have gone through about 12, 13, 14, 15 phases. They had the ability to keep hold of the ball. You know, perhaps in years gone by, we would have said they would have got frustrated. It just shows how they're developing as a rugby nation. That ability to go through the phases, have the confidence and have that discipline. We talk about discipline, it's about sticking to the structures and having that confidence to play them.
Well, it could be a very long night indeed for Canada if that first scrum is anything to go by.
Yeah, I think what Canada need to do, they need to settle in the game. They haven't touched the ball. You know, 6 minutes are gone. They haven't had their hands on the ball. What they need to do is just make sure that they're getting that defensive line. They've been pretty good, but they're still just not quite chopping them down. But once again, you know, great power. We know how strong these guys are with the ball in hand.
Yeah, the high-stepping Tayasina Tuifua with a try, and the latecomer James So'oyalo with a conversion, and Samoa lead by 7 points to 0 after 6 minutes of play.
Yeah, once again showing their intent, looking to get that ball into the wide channels early on.
Loud blast and the whistle of Mr. Pastrana.
Straight down.
Yeah, and that's good work again by the Canadians there. They shifted across, they came up, they drifted, they used the touch line, put the tackler down, but great work by those outside backs. You know, we talk about, you know, traditionally it's the flankers that go in and win those balls. You know, but if you've got guys like number 11 bouncing onto his feet, putting pressure on that guy who's trying to secure that ball, that's fantastic work there.
Someone's going off their feet, hence the penalty, and Canadian outside half Connor Braid kicks for position.
Please tell your backs not to tackle late.
Yeah, Connor will know this pitch very well, having played 2 seasons with RGC, so he'll know the wind and everything. He's a great player, and so is Sean White, the halfbacks. You know, 2 very, very good players. You know, they've got that ability to break the gain line themselves.
Yeah, that was an interesting development, partnership between the Canadian Rugby Union and the Welsh Rugby Union, which saw any number of these players come into play and develop their skills here in North Wales and help the North Wales region as well.
Yeah, definitely. It certainly worked well early on, but you know what we've got now, the great thing is we've got a North Wales team packed full of North Wales players.
So again, Samoa incur the wrath of referee Pastrana, and a chance for 3 points perhaps this time for Canada.
Yeah, he seems to be very hot on the breakdown, this referee. He obviously wants the game to flow, so, you know, players have got to react to that. You know, this is the thing, you know, most coaches will say you can have an idea of what the referee's going to do, but at the end of the day, you've got to have the ability to react to it. You see the better teams, you know, they react to the referee, and sometimes the really good teams, they almost manage the referee into the way they want him to play.
You walk through the gate.
James Pritchard, a young man you know very well, Chris.
Yeah, well, when I was coming back from injury, I went on loan from Bath to Bedford, and I shared a flat with him in Tavistock Street. I mustn't have been a very good flatmate, because one day I turned up and he'd moved out. So I don't know what that says about me. He lived with me for 2 months and moved out and didn't even tell me.
James Pritchard fast approaching the total of former Canadian outside half Gareth Rees, who scored 491 points for Canada. James Pritchard now on 445. Chance to open the scoring straight down the middle. No, hit the right hand upright. Yeah, disappointed with that. He's such a proficient and prolific kicker is Pritchard, and you'd have expected him to put that one over, but the score remains at 7 points to 0 with 9 minutes on the clock.
He'll be disappointed with that. I mean, knowing Pritchard and played with him for a season, he came over to England at a very young age, but even then he was a very professional individual. You know, he was the one always out kicking. You know, he won't let that faze him. He's done it hours and hours.
And the kick from the outside half, Tusi Pisi charged down. Canadians ever alert, and they need to be against the physical Samoans.
Yeah, that's good work there. It's those little things doing that. Another prop there, jumping very, very high into the air. But, you know, what the Canadians need to do is they need to get hold of the ball. They need to start to go through the phases.
Yeah, that was Doug Woolridge. There he is, wearing 3 on his back at the back of the line-out. Quickly spread out. Wow,
ooh, what a great tackle.
Well, that's what the Canadians can expect.
That's the second time from the referee we've seen this. What he's looking at, we saw it in the first game. We talk about the first person coming into the breakdown is not sealing the ball. So what he means is his head going lower than the hips. So we look at number 12 there, he seals that ball. So the players need to respond to that as a referee. Simple, what you got to do is keep your head above your hips. He just wants that positive intent. Yeah,
8 on 8. The try scorer, Tuifua, on the Canadian captain, Aaron Carpenter.
You must support your body weight,
that was a bone-shuddering tackle from the Samoa number 8 and try scorer Taisina Tuifua.
Yeah, what you've got to do against the Samoans, you can't just run straight at them because it's meat and drink to them. What you need to do is you need to ask questions. You need to have your blocks, your dummy runners, inside balls. You need to ask them questions. If you go straight at them, that's exactly what they want.
You need to avoid contact. You don't show your shoulder to them, otherwise you'll come off second best. So here they come then on the Canadian 22.
Yeah, going through that familiar phase again, just getting those 3 forwards off, picking one of those runners.
And the number 8 is the go-to man, as they say. Setamita Sa, the newcomer. Out it comes to James So'oyalo. Couldn't quite get the ball away to newcomer debutant Lila Mayava.
Yeah, good work there. What made that for the Canadians, the great defence, was the inside press. You know, the Samoan wing fullback was looking to cut across and bring the winger back in field, but that inside press, we always talk about the offensive line. Your job's not done when the ball goes past you. You've got to keep shutting that gate on the inside, and Canada did it very well there.
So a good position here for Samoa, just inside the Canadian 22. Unchallenged at the line-out as they look to get that forward traction from the rolling ball, number 7. That's Tivani Fomai. He's another newcomer.
Good patience there by the Samoans. They took the initial heat of that blitz defence we talked about in the line-out, where the opposition stayed down, but they've worked it well. The ball, all the players working past the ball player. There was no transference of that ball. Very good.
Still moving forward, but use it, says referee Pastrana. Oh, some sleight of hand in midfield. Is that a second try?
Great play again. Once again, going upstairs to have a look at the video referee. But fantastic patience there by the Samoans. We saw in the first game when the teams were driving. We talked about the drive dying. The drive was still going forward, so that Canadian back defence was on the back foot, not giving the time for the 9 to sweep round to pick up that ball.
Lovely kick.
Oh, and I think that was a knock-on.
So be clear in the arena way.
Yeah, the Pissy brothers in concert there. Tussie at outside half and George at 13. The Northampton centre brought in late to the squad.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a knock-on against Samoa, but once again they showed their patience in terms of that play and how disciplined they look in their play. Yes, they've got the flair, they've got that natural ability, but you can see they're bringing the drive into the game. You know, it's great to see. That's good to see from the Canadians, asking the referee, the captain going up, getting clarification of that breakdown rule. You can see it's obviously something they've not been used to. It's a different interpretation.
But having said that, the Samoans won't mind the odd knock-on because they have a superior weight advantage, a huge weight advantage. They scored from a try from a scrum early on after 5 minutes. Can they do it again? Yeah,
certainly the Canadians will be looking for a really good hit, that regeneration of the weight, making sure the Samoans can't chase through, which they do very, very well, the Samoans there, and turn the ball over.
Look at the steamroller the Canadians here. Tussie, Pissy. Setting it up again. In the shadow of the Canadian posts. Quick ball, out it comes. Jeremy Sua. Good defence here from the Canadians, holding their line.
Yeah, they're doing well there, the Canadians, but they're still just on the back foot. It looks pretty ominous at the moment. The Canadian scrum there, they were under a lot of pressure there, particularly the tight head. The Samoan loose head got right underneath them and turned that ball over.
Shot.
A simple 3-pointer on offer here for James So'oyalo. plays his rugby for the Aix-en-Provence club out in France. This is his 5th cap. Younger brother of former scrum half Steve and former All Black number 8 Rodney So'oyalo.
Certainly some rugby pedigree in that family.
It certainly is.
Right decision there, I think, to go for the points. You know, they've got the psychological advantage with turning over the scrum. Keep that scoreboard ticking over. You know, 15 minutes gone, 10-0. Canada haven't really touched the ball yet. I think that's what they really need to do. They need to get hold of this ball, have a bit of patience and go through the phases at least, just so they get comfortable with the fact that they can actually play against Samoans. At the moment, they haven't touched the ball for 15 minutes, and the longer that goes on, the more doubt creeps into their mind.
So a good crowd on wet but relatively mild evening here, or mild by our standards up here in North Wales. Temperatures about 8-9 degrees centigrade perhaps.
Yeah, and that's another great take from the kickoff. The Samoans have been really good at retaining that possession. You know, we often talk about when you've scored a try or a point, that's when you're most vulnerable. They've done really well to get hold of the possession again.
Good to see Paul Perez coming off his wing, looking for work. One of the shining lights of the Samoan Sevens squad on the World Circuit last season. Here is the robustious Ole Avei, the Samoan hooker. Some good skills being shown there, bringing in George Pisi.
Yeah, it's really good, keeping that ball alive. And once again, that time the Canadian didn't shut that inside press, allowed them to get that switch and keep the ball alive.
Matt Evans was
great
the tackle.
pickup.
Census Johnson, just what he was saying earlier on, Chris. He's got good hands for a big, burly, tight head.
That's a better tackle that time. The Canadians shut the gate, but once again, the Samoans being really patient.
Use it!
Fisa Treverenis taking it in. Here he is, big Census Johnson sucking in 3 Canadian defenders, but the ball is made available for Jeremy Suwan. Again, it's PC looking to have another go, and a try for Lila Mayaba on his debut. As simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks so simple, but you know, it's very much a game tactic. What they're doing with those big forwards are just sucking in that fringe defence. So they suck in the forwards of the Canadians. That means the 10 has to come in closer, the centre has to come in closer, and therefore the winger has to come in closer. And that opens that opportunity then for that crossfield kick.
Yeah, the youngster, the 20-year-old, another Sevens player. But what a lovely touch that was from Tusi Pisi.
Yeah, that was an absolutely lovely kick, and you know, the Samoans are looking pretty ominous at the moment. You know, their line-out's been functioning well, their scrum has been dominant, but the thing for me is the patience they're showing. You know, they're making the gain line. So, you know, the Canadian defence hasn't been bad. You know, they are stopping them sometimes on the gain line, but the Samoans, they're not flustered. You know, they say, right, okay, we'll rebuild and we'll go through the phases again.
So'oyalo. Third kick at the posts. This is his most difficult kick, but it's on the right side of the field for a right-footed kicker. Steps up, right-footed. Just pushed that one to the right of the far upright, but Samoa well in control of this match after 17 minutes. They lead Samoa by 2 tries to 0 and by 15 points to 0.
Yeah, Canada going different this time. The other kickoffs, they split their forwards. I think this time they're putting all their forwards on one side so they can have a harder chase to maybe have a chance of turning that ball over, but at least stopping the Samoans going forward.
Samoa and Canada clashing for the first time in more than a decade, and only the 3rd time ever. Samoa have won both previous encounters in 1999 and 2000.
Once again, that's showing the difficulty of defending against that offload.
But they've got the confidence, haven't they, to attack from their own 22.
Yeah, definitely. You can see that they're not afraid to do it, and everyone knows their roles. But what helps is their skill level. You know, they're looking very skillful. But the pleasing thing for me in terms of the Samoans is their breakdown work. You know, that first man's going in, we call it winning the space or taking the threat out the way and dealing with it. It's giving that quick ball.
So patience.
Use it!
To the fore again. Use it, says Mr. Pastrana. And again, the kick is charged down from Tusi Pisi. It's a narrow in-goal area, but that could well have brought a try for Canada. Good work again by the Canadian defence.
Yeah, that's great work on the charge down there. You know, that's what you want to see from your team. You haven't touched the ball for 20 minutes, but, you know, you've still got to have that ability to, when you get the opportunity to work hard, it's little things like that can, you know, give the team confidence.
So the general, that is Tusi Pisi with ball in hand.
Yeah, it must be difficult now for the Canadians. Like I say, 20 minutes, and I can't remember them really having the ball for, well, for more than one or two phases. So, you know, what they need to do is to keep hold of this.
So let's see what they can do. Pritchard back on the narrow side to Taylor Paris, plays his rugby for the Glasgow 15 in the Rabo Direct Pro 12, the Celtic League.
Good work there by Conor Braid there, just attacking the line, you know, a couple of forwards outside him, just asking those questions of that Samoan defence.
Conor Braid, it's an awkward little ball to take. Soyalo, competent as ever. Drops in field though. Pritchard wants to get the ball away before the rushing onslaught. And you feel yourself wincing each time the Canadians go into contact, Chris.
Yeah, you can see what the Canadians are doing is when they get a kick, they're doing one pass open and then they're throwing it back the way they came, because they obviously feel that the Samoans are going to push up to the ball, so they're looking to expose them by straight away playing it back the other direction. But both times the Samoans, their defences cope well with it.
Palmed down there by newcomer Filo Paulo. Number 5 for Samoa, straight down the middle. Zach Taulafo, the captain, leading by example, over the shoulder from Jeremy Sua, a testing kick. Now then, Paris off his line. It senses Johnson back inside. The support is there, and again Samoa there in numbers. Now then, quick hands, that's what's needed. Could be another try on here. Lilo Mayava, can he get in?
Yeah.
Now then, did he ground the ball?
Looked like a try for me, but
good effort.
Once again, it's just that offloading, getting behind the Canadians and just running out of bodies at the moment. You know what the Samoans are doing really well is they're only sending 1 or 2 guys to clear out their attacking ball. You know, that we have this saying in rugby, you know, don't use unnecessary bullets. You know, one man, one bullet. If there's one defender there, just send in one person to clear him out.
Yeah, Matt Evans in with the tackle, but I don't think he's prevented Robert Lila Mayava, the debutant, from getting his second try. Let's have another look.
For me, they are good because it's always one who is the first to arrive.
Yeah, it looks good to me. Once again, that great ball transference here, that ability as he's tackled to have the forethought of changing it to the stronger hand and reaching out for that try.
Okay.
Yes, Samoans had walked back to the 22, the Canadians in the group behind their own try line.
Yeah, once again, you know, another try there, and truly well deserved by the Samoans there. Great patience again, but the Canadians, you know, they had that opportunity with the ball, but they didn't really offer anything. They had that, you know, 2 passes and then back down the blind side. They didn't really offer anything. There was a kick by Conor Braid just turning over possession. Just have the patience like the Samoans are, going through the phase. If you've got the ball, the opposition can't score.
So Soyalo a little further away from the posts than his previous attempt, or from the try line rather. He saw his previous attempt drift wide of the far upright, so he should have the measure of this one. Deftly Hush transcends Arias Park, respecting the kicker. That's always good to see. That looks more promising.
Yeah, good kick there. He obviously learned from the first one. You know, Canada really need to do something now. You know, that this time they're kicking to the right-hand side. You know, they started off with split kickoffs. It seems like they're being reactive rather than proactive. You know, rather than saying this is what we're going to do, they're sort of reacting to the situations that are happening around them.
22 minutes on the clock. Samoa have 22 points on the scoreboard. Looking very competent. Sua, the high kick, the chase coming in from Lilo Mayava. The captain Aaron Carpenter takes it into contact. Now then, the support is there.
Yeah, did well there. Yeah, did well under a lot of pressure there, but great box kick by by Samoa there. Put the ball up, plenty of hang time. That gives the chasers that opportunity to get there. So Aaron did particularly well there, and he got his team going forward. So it's Canada's scrum now. You know, they're going to be a lot of pressure, particularly the loose head. You know, Census Johnson, the tight head from Samoa, is going to look to really come on to the Canadians' hooker and put pressure and almost force the Canadians' back row back to the touchline.
Census Johnson, the most experienced player in the squad with 36 caps. My goodness me, look at the width of that front row. the quality is there as well. And again, the Canadian scrum under pressure.
Yeah, that's a great scrum there. Working really, really hard after the ball's put in. You know, I think there's a misconception that scrummaging is just about size and weight. You know, don't get me wrong, it does help the fact that they're absolutely huge blokes. But you can see technically they're working as a pack. You know, look at the good teams, they work as an eight. It's not just a front row thing. You saw the back five of the scrum. They went with the wheel, all their spines were in line, and you saw that second generation of that weight, that regeneration of power after the hit. Look, a very good scrum at the moment.
Crouch.
Jeremy Swa.
Touch.
With an early engagement from Samoa is what's being penalised. It's a short penalty. It's a technical offence.
Yeah, didn't see much in it myself. Canada have obviously got a move here. They've got 2 pods of forwards. So it's obviously a set move.
So taking it back into contact, looking to suck in Samoan defenders, but they're only committing 1 or 2 players at most to the breakdown. A show from Phil McKenzie, bringing James Pritchard in up from fullback, releasing Taylor Paris, so that was the intent, certainly. It's on its way. Connor Braid, good work from the outside half, almost up to the Samoan 22.
Yeah, that's twice Connor's made a couple of half breaks. He's done very well in that situation. That was good by Connor there, but the initial attack by Canada, it was very deep and it was very lateral. You know what you've got to do? You've got to be holding that slide. You just saw the Samoans there. They came up and they drifted across. You need something to hold that slide. Otherwise, all you'll find is that touchline suddenly becomes that 16th defender.
Well, you've got 2 centres there with Canada, Kieran Hearn and Phil McKenzie, both wing 3/4. And they've moved in to play at centre.
But a good tacking position. You know, I said Connor Braid has that ability to break the game, and twice he's made those half breaks.
Ray Barkwell. Tyler Ardron had to lean back for that one. Look at that number 8 coming through yet again. He's a big unit as
he's done fantastically well there. You know, once again we look at the difference of that early Samoan drive compared to what's happened to the Canadian drive. That drive has died and all the Samoans on their feet and the Canadians are off their feet, but they've done well to regenerate the ball.
Barkwell taking it into contact, laying the platform then for the captain Aaron Carpenter. 8 on 8 once again.
He's certainly put himself around already in this game.
He is, isn't he? Now then, half chance perhaps for Phil McKenzie, battling away. That's the Samoan try line.
Yeah,
5 metres out, but there's nobody there. At last, it's out then to Hubert Bidens, the loose head prop for Canada. Connor Braid to Paris.
All a little bit lateral from Canada at the moment. They need to shorten this Samoan defence. Look, all the Samoan defenders are on their feet, and we've got about 6 or 7 Canadians off their feet.
So another chance then. At outside half was Taylor Hostin. Oh, not the best of passes, and it was a wing forward who was out there, Chauncey O'Toole.
Yeah, I talked about it earlier, how the Canadians are a little bit deep and a little bit lateral. That ball just went across, and at no point here did the Samoans look under any threat. They came up, they paddled, they had good communication, and they pushed them to the sideline. What Canada need to do is they need to punch holes in that Samoan defensive line. They need to pull in some bodies. At the moment, they're not doing that.
A little bit, no, the other side.
So there was a chance there for Canada.
He's going for the set, okay? Left.
But Canada will be a lot happier. You know, they've gone through some phases. They've got over the gain line. I thought, you know, Connor's looked particularly sort of dangerous. What's helped it was when he's had the ball, he's had a couple of forwards. He had 1 forward outside him, 2 forwards out inside him. It just puts that little bit of doubt into the defenders. If you just run man on man against these Samoans, they will absolutely cut you in half.
Crouch. Touch. Set.
It's a better scrum from Canada, but it's Sua who brings it away up to the 22. No prizes for guessing who that guy is. Will he last the 80 minutes? That's the question I'm asking myself.
Well, he might have done enough damage by 60 minutes at the moment. You know, every time they're in trouble, he's got them over the game line. Once again, that offload, and they're dealing really well with the jackler at the breakdown, the Samoans.
Setai Maita Sa taking it into contact. Paris on his own. That won't find touch. Down the throat of Lila Mayava, the 2 try scorer.
Yeah, he's got the front rotor on it there, but you know, he made the right decision to kick.
Well, that looked as if it was out on the full, but difficult to distinguish the sidelines on the far side there.
I recognise the referee. He refereed the toucher. Sorry, he refereed our last league game against Yastrid Ronda for RGC. So yeah. Won't say any more.
So I gather he didn't win then.
No, he did very well.
Phil McKenzie.
Great work over the tackle there. See the Samoan player stopping them on the gain line, allowing that for that turnover ball. And they could be in trouble here, Canada.
Good work again by Samoa. George P.C., the dancing feet of the Samoan centre. Ex-North Harbour.
Yeah, once again, we see when the Canadians have got their ball, just running straight into that sort of 10-12 channel, particularly when it's a shortened line-up. That brings the Canadian back row into that defensive line. You don't want to be just running straight at them. You need to ask them a few questions. You need to, you know, shift the ball on one maybe. You know, they'll drop you down and they'll send that first man in to turn over that ball.
Samoa contesting the line out through their big number 5, Filo Paulo. Lilo Mayava to So'oialo. Again, that little hitch kick. A goose step, La Campese.
No, looks like one of the Canadian players is injured there on the floor. But once again, that little chip over the top, they do well there.
Referee Pastrana calls them back for attention to the injured player.
Number 2, straight up.
I think it was lights out for that Canadian player. I can't see, but you can just see with the physicality, the way these Samoans run into you, you know, you've got to get it right. If you get your head in the wrong place.
Phil McKenzie, took a knee probably.
Yeah, it seemed like he took a little boot to the face. I don't think it was anything untoward. A good thing is he wasn't knocked out by the looks of it. It looks like it was just a, you know, maybe a stamp on the face, completely unintentionally, by the way.
Yeah, but referee Pastrana's allowed play to go on.
Yeah, obviously he's not affecting play. I've got to say that was a fantastic kick there. You know, from sort of just about halfway to 5 meters out. So, you know, be interesting to see what they do here. Do they drive again, or do they give it straight out to the backs?
Well, the Canadians are 1 short in the backs at the moment, and Phil McKenzie is still stretched out here.
Yeah, perhaps they'll just target that 10-12 channel already, or they might play a block play it behind the 12 and attack that wider channel.
So McKenzie back on his feet. So
okay.
Back with play. It's
substitution.
Ole Ave.
Okay.
I think they're making the change.
Substitution.
Doesn't look too comfortable. You know, I'm sure he wants to carry on, but you know, you've got to be careful. If it's a head injury or a jaw injury, you've got to be so careful with these things.
Yeah.
So Nick Blevins will come on for Canada, wearing 22 in place of the stunned Phil McKenzie.
Yeah, Nick was another player who played up in North Wales with us, a big, hard-running centre and defensively very strong, you know, a natural 12. So, you know, he might actually add something to the Canadians, give them that go-forward ball.
Yeah, plays for the Calgary Hornets, does Nick Blevins.
Yeah, once again, the Samoans being very patient with that drive. All their forwards, look, you notice they work past the ball carrier, not transferring the ball, working past, keeping that drive going forward.
Leading the charge there is the Toulouse, the formidable Toulouse tight head prop forward, Census Johnson. But Canada able to hold their own there.
Yeah, the good thing there, the referee was being consistent. The 9 for Samoa came off his feet. We talked about coming in and being positive. what we'll say about referees, any coaches or players, you don't mind what they do as long as they're consistent. And the great thing about this referee, he's been consistent with that same decision. So both teams now have got to respond and react to that.
22 points to nil. It was after 22 minutes. Another 10 minutes gone, and Samoa not able to add to their tally. And Canada, well, they slowly but surely getting the measure of the Samoan side. Perhaps they know exactly what they're going to get each time that the Samoans get the ball in their hands.
That's good line out to John Phelan at the back there. Great work. And that's Nick. That's what he offers. That bit of strong running, just getting him over the gain line.
Carpenter, the captain.
Backwards.
A little scruffy there behind. Kieran Hearn. Many choices, really.
Yeah, he did well with that kick there, but Canada did well from the first phase. They got over the gain line, but with that second forward runner, you just see the difference in terms of how they get over the gain line and the speed at which they get that ball away. Canada have got to, because the tackles are more offensive by Samoa, the ball's slow, they've got to send a couple more players in to win that ruck, Canada, which then gives them less attacking options.
Kieran Hearn recovered well there for Canada and put in a very good kick, taking play deep into the Samoan 22.
Yeah, fantastic kick there. But that's great line-up ball by Samoa again.
Fatinga Lemalu, he's wearing the blue headgear, the drive coming in as well. Sua, under pressure, gets the ball away. Paris was who knocked the ball forward.
Once again, Samoa showing their intent, the great kick chase and keeping that ball alive. And here we go for that crossfield kick again.
Lila Moyava. Matt Evans got the measure of him there, because had this young man got away, he would have been certainly in for a third try.
I don't think many people would have caught him, but a good thing about Canada, they're starting to read and react to that situation. They're realising that Samoa holding that winger flat and tight to the touchline for that crossfield kick. So that's positive that they're responding to it, and they're starting to get a little bit into the game now.
Sean White to Connor Braid. Chelsea O'Toole, I think, in midfield. Unlucky.
That was a bit better by Canada there. They didn't just run the first man in, they ran a block or a switch. I can't quite remember what it was, but they asked a couple of questions which held that defensive line, made the Samoan players plant their feet, which allowed them to break the gain line. But I can't see what the penalty was for there. And that's another great kick.
Looked effortless, didn't it?
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, we just see there that switch ball back inside, just something a little bit different.
I think what the referee said was that he was tackled and he should have released the ball. He was held.
He was definitely held there.
You see, into midfield, finding Tuifua. To CPC, a little misunderstanding in midfield.
Yeah, a few mistakes starting to creep into the Samoan games. I think Canada are gaining a bit of confidence for it, but they still look ominous, the Samoans, whenever they got the ball in hand. That speed of ball that they're getting is so much quicker than what the Canadians are managing at the moment.
Yeah, you can see Kieran Crowley in front of us here, the Canadian coach, making his way down towards the dugout. I wonder what he's thinking at the moment. What will he be saying to his charges at half-time?
I think the big thing for him is what he's going to be saying is keep hold of the ball, have a bit of patience. Our line-out's functioning really well. Our defence is, it's doing okay. We've got to keep switched on that, but hold on to the ball. Ask questions, keep that patience. At the moment, they're doing two phases. They're either spilling it with a turnover or they're kicking it away. You're never going to score against a good organised defence after two phases.
Samoa 10th in the IRB World Rankings and Canada in 13th, but Samoa looking to build momentum ahead of next Friday evening's encounter at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff against Wales, who face Argentina tomorrow at the very same venue.
That's a better scrum by Canada.
That's a solid scrum, isn't it, from the Canadians. Braid, that's a testing kick. Soyalo leaves it for Paul Perez, and it's advantage Canada here if they can move it quickly. Look to be at 6s and 7s. Matt Evans had called for the ball out on the right wing here. Sean White it is who can't get away. Look at these Samoans coming in.
Yeah, once again, it's that breakdown area. They're slowing the Canadians' ball down, and that's because of the ferocity of the tackle. And then that first man going through and winning that space. You know, Canada are having to put so many men in just to get the ball. They can't get any momentum into their game. You know, that'll be something that the Canadian coaches will look at. You know, that first person, when he gets tackled, it's a bit like that extra work on the floor. Maybe it's that roll or that long and strong presentation, but he's just got to work a little bit harder, and then that first guy's got to really come in and seal or centre the ball. You know, make sure it's locked off in a positive way. We know what the ref's doing it, but that ball player's got a bit more footwork as he goes into the contact and that work afterwards.
Jeremy Sewer just having a quick word with his outside half, Tussi Pissy. It's a confident partnership they have at half-back, the Samoans.
Yeah, they've certainly controlled the game well. You know, they've kicked well. Nine's run the forwards particularly well. He's got his runners out. You know, he's played wide when he's need to. He's box kicked well, but I've been very impressed with the 10. You know, he's brought his backs in well, but his kicking out of hands has been absolutely fantastic.
And Sewer has a quick and accurate pass, doesn't he? The Canterbury Crusaders scrum half.
Yeah, very, very accurate, and once again, very busy around the fringes.
Yeah, you want a busy scrum half, don't you? Who poses a threat to the opposition back row forwards.
Yeah, you can see once again he's organising his forwards, looking for that attacking option, switching attack, and a great. Oh.
Census Johnson using the Canadian as a doormat. And that was Taylor Ardron wearing 6 for Canada.
Well, that's great by the Samoans there. You know, they picked up from the base of the scrum. It was a little bit messy. Nine was calling his forwards around. The Canadians overread it. They all flooded to the open side, which allowed then the Nine to go down the blind side, and he had that flying winger Census Johnson outside him, who did particularly well.
Matt Evans, well, Ray Barkwell here is 32 years of age, making his debut in the Canadian shirt, a former Brock University member.
He'll certainly be enjoying this evening, you know, regardless of what the score is. You know, every player loves that first cap experience.
Hooker on Hooker. Somehow the Canadians get it away as far as Connor Braid onto Blevins. Well, he's certainly not scared of the Samoans, and he's not bothered by their reputation either. That's good work by the replacement centre.
Yeah, fantastic. Like I said before he came on, he'll give you that go-forward ball. Now Canada have got some go-forward ball. Let's see what they can do.
So Ardron, 6 to Taylor Paris. Well, they have the width of the field here if they can work it quickly. Braid. Not the best of passes, well picked up though by Blevins again. Sucking into Samoan defenders.
Yeah, but once again, the Samoans they're putting those offensive tackles, getting that defensive line in place. You know, putting pressure around the fringes, forcing the Canadians back.
Yeah, can't get tidy ball to their outside backs at all, can the Canadians? We arrived at the 40.
Yeah, and once again we saw the 4 for Samoa there, just going in. It's only a little bit, just making an extra Canadian forward, just slowing that ball, just that split second, and it forces that knockover.
Yeah, Samoa winning the turnover, and that's a very good standard of refereeing, good consistent refereeing.
Yeah, that's what we've been looking for as players, is the consistency of the referee, not changing their mind, not giving one decision one way and another decision the other way. But this is a better start for Canada.
Come out for the second half, much more confidence, but it's Samoa on the breakout here. The little kick downfield, the testing kick from Tussi Pissy, I think it was.
Yeah, and I think they've got turnover, but no, Canada have secured it. But once again, it's that Canadian backplate. It's very deep and it's very lateral. It's giving the Samoans that time to run up, and you know that's why they got that intercept.
But Samoa will get the put in here, and it looks ominous again at the top of the second half for the Canucks. They've got some hefty citizens in that Samoan pack.
Yeah, once again we see from that play there, very deep and very lateral, giving the opposition time to push up, and they go for that intercept.
Let's go, let's go.
Ray Barkwell, the ball-headed figure, the hooker, the debutant.
Be patient, please.
This is what, as front row forwards, when you hitting that scrummage machine or doing that live scrummaging in training, this is what you look forward to. Believe it or not, most people can't understand it, but as a front row forward, you look forward to this opportunity. It's a real time to test yourself one-on-one against your opposite number.
It's a game within the game, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Biden's against Census Johnson. Front row's going to ground. It's no surprise to see the penalty awarded to Samoa on a try.
Yeah.
Follows for Lilo Mayava, I think it is.
Yeah, great scrummage there by Census Johnson. You could see that Hubert was under a lot of pressure and he just dropped that scrum. He had no opportunity, had to go down to the floor. But once again, that quick tap penalty, that awareness, but the worst possible start that Canada could have hoped for.
So it's a hat-trick then for the youngster. On his debut for Samoa, Lilo Mayava.
That's fantastic. It's great getting your first cap, but to score a hat-trick on your first cap, I mean, that's the sort of thing you dream of doing. Unfortunately, my first cap, we lost 45 points against the All Blacks, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it's such an amazing achievement. But to score a hat-trick, wow, that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and consider that he's not the first choice wing three-quarter. When the team that faces Wales is announced next week, it'll probably be the captain of the squad, David Leamy, that occupies or wears that number 11 shirt, but he's certainly aware now that he has some competition. So Oyalo.
Well, that's what you want within the squad. You want that competition for places. You look at all the best international teams. They don't just have a strong 15. They have a strong 30, or sometimes even 40 players that they can pick from. That internal competition, that internal pressure for places. That's what keeps driving the player forward. If a player knows he's going to play week in, week out, that's when he takes his eye off the ball.
So Oyalo adds the conversion, and Samoa have a healthy and a commanding 29-point advantage 3 minutes into the second half.
Yeah, great work again there. It just shows that a little bit of skill level, But another turnover there for, oh no, it wasn't, coming off his feet or not rolling away. The referee said there that the tackle player didn't roll away. Well, that's good. At least he's saying, he's explaining his decision and he wants wants an open flowing game. But once again, we see from the kickoff, getting over the gain line. Once again, Canada have got to start, affecting those tackles low.
Zach Taulafo, the Samoan captain, having a word with the referee. We're the dominant scrum here. And happening all the time is what he's suggesting to referee Pastrana, I think.
What the Samoans want, they're going to want to play the game. They're going to want high tempo, quick ball, explosive power game. Canada are going to look to slow it down. They're going to have to take the pace out of the game. So what he's saying to the referee is, look, we're dominant in the scrum, we're dominant at the breakdown, stop them slowing it down. Help us play the game we want to play.
So this line-out takes place just inside the Canadian half. Now they will be looking for his tall timbers. To the back it goes, this time taken by Filo Paulo. Straight down the centre field against that man again. The wrecking ball that is Tuifua, the number 8. Scored his team's first try, Paul Perez. All the ball seems to be going towards the left-hand side. Taulafo has a fancy of joining in the try-scoring spree himself. 4 tries to the good Samoa now.
Yeah, that was good by Samoan there, but better by the Canadians. Putting more pressure on the Samoans' ball. Making the Samoans' ball a bit scrappy, a bit messy, going through and then winning that turnover. But once again, when they get the ball in the hand, they just look ominous. They're just breaking that gain line almost at will at the moment.
Looking back to that game against South Africa, their last game in the Rugby World Cup, Samoa, they held the ball, or had the ball for 2/3 of that game and hit 120 rucks, and unfortunately losing by 13 points to 5. That was a huge bruising encounter. They were so disappointed. They certainly fancied their chances, and playing so many games in such a short period told on the Samoans.
Yeah, I think that's something that, like I say, needs to be looked at. You know, if we want this to be a global game, you know, we've got to help the tier 2 nations. You know, the top nations have the bigger squad, so you know maybe they need the quicker turnaround.
Kieran Hearn coming in off the scissors, offered by Conor Braid, the outside half. Now then, looking for the penetration. That's Sean White away. He goes over the 10-metre line. The little kick through for Robert Leila-Mayava. Well, he's not wanting in defence either, is he, Paul Perez?
No, he did well covering on. I don't think Sean should have kicked that ball away. The Samoans are on the back foot. He should have kept that ball, built the faces, but all he did was kick the ball away. And now they've got to rebuild this attack from the halfway line. Yeah,
they've got to start all over again through Chauncey O'Toole. Plays for the Bridgend Ravens down in South Wales, in the Ospreys region. Couldn't quite break through and seal his position with the Ospreys.
A simple mistake there. Once again with that long kick, what the Canadians do, they pass one kick infield and then they throw it back the other way. That was great by Sean here, but as we look as he's made the break, you could see the idea. He had a man outside him. You know, the worst that can happen, he gets tackled, they rebuild and they put the phases, but what they do is they cough over possession, and now it's a Samoan scrum, you know, on the 40-metre line.
Red ball.
Yes,
Canada missing players of the calibre of Clement Auvergne. Lock forward to Jamie Cudmore, DH van der Merwe. There's a hamstring problem. Adam Kleeberger, he's not available either, nor is Jeb Sinclair, who's playing his rugby out in Cape Town at the moment.
Yeah, he's doing fantastically well. You know, Jeb would have loved this game. You know, he loves mixing it up, and so would Cudmore as well. You know, those are two big guys that would have loved this physical challenge from the Samoans.
The first Canadian probably to taste Currie Cup success, Jeb Sinclair, out in South Africa.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great. It's only going to do him the world of good, but it's going to do Canada the world of good. You know, another player being exposed to a high class of rugby. You know, it's just important that they can get hold of him for these internationals. That's the big thing.
Time on. Stay there, yeah.
So Zach Taulafo, captain of Lucet, not a happy man still.
Crouch.
Yeah, it'd be interesting this scrum, you know, watching how Census Johnson, how hard he hits and then goes across. And that's a great bit of work there, that second drive.
PC puts the long kick in downfield, finds James Pritchard, well placed.
Yeah, James didn't have much of an option there. Shows if you get good first phase ball, we always look for that right hand shoulder up. Census got a great right hand shoulder which takes the opposition back row off the 10, which gives him the time with his kick to find the space, and he did well there. Once again, building the pressure nicely, Samoa there. Good scrum, good kicking game, line out on the opposition's 40-metre line.
So one or two of the back row members out in midfield for Samoa. Carpenter, the captain, with a little feint there, taking the ball back into contact. Blevins taking the hospital pass from Taylor Ardron.
Yeah, but that's what Nick can do. He's got the ability, that physicality to offload that ball.
Lovely pass from Ardron to Blevins again.
Yeah, he's certainly done well, Nick, since he's come on. He's really given that go-forward ball, and he's given them a target, a focal point for them to, you know, if things are going bad, you know, give it to Nick and he'll punch it up. But what they can't do is just send one runner up like that, because they're going to turn that ball over if they're not careful.
Yeah, that was Dave Ulrich, the tight head prop, and as you rightly point out, Chris, that's exactly what has happened. The hooker gets it away as far as Officer Trevor Ennis, who's had a quiet game by his own standards, the London Irish back row forward.
That's the difference there. When one Canadian forward takes it in, he doesn't have the ability, the strength to take it over the gain line, so he gets hit behind the gain line and gets turned over. When the Samoans are taken in, they're breaking the tackles, which forces the Canadians to go off their feet and the tackler not to roll away.
Numbers, please.
Interesting decision if he goes for post here. Yeah, it looks like he is. Just keep that scoreboard ticking over.
In centre field, and again, Taulafo wants a word.
I will ref the game, okay? Come on, hurry up.
Yeah, I will ref the game, okay.
Yeah, he's doing what most good captains should do.
Yep.
I remember playing against Lawrence Dallaglio. I sometimes thought he should just take the whistle. I mean, he was just running the whole game. But that's the art of a good captain.
The problem was Lawrence Dallaglio thought he should take the whistle as well.
But that's what you want from a skipper. You know, he never did it in a disrespectful way. But as you know, if you're the captain, you know, if you go up to the referee and ask him the right way and ask the right questions in the right manner, you know, you get him on side.
So this to take Samoa out beyond the 30-point mark. So'oialo in midfield. He's given it an almighty thump, and the flags are in the air. Tremendous kicking from James So'oialo. He wasn't in the original squad, but he's certainly made his presence felt here this evening at Arias Park. 32 points to nil now. That's Samoa's advantage.
Oh, great, they've just made a change as well, the Canadians. I see Jason Marshall's come on, and another one of the Canadian North Walians. You know, he's a big, strong boy. You know, hopefully he'll give them a bit more stability on that tight head of the scrum. You know, he can scrummage well, but as we've seen, the Samoans definitely look like a pack that are working as an eight, all in unison to manipulate the ball to the shoulder they want.
Samoa making changes as well, wearing number 22, that's Johnny Leota. And that 23 stretched across his back, that's big Galafoti Fa'asiliva. Yet another stalwart of the Samoan HSBC Sevens World Series squad.
Yeah, and this is the difference when Samoa bring their players on, that, you know, they're bringing another high caliber of player on, you know, adding that intensity to their game.
So Canada looking to build up a head of steam here, but Taylor Paris, the very promising Taylor Paris, can't make any headway.
Yeah, once again, that attack from Canada was very lateral. Nothing holding that slide of that defence, which allowed the Canadians to push up that inside press, chop that tackler down. Very unlucky there, Samoa, on that breakdown. I think they went through and won the space, but the referee, like I say, he's being consistent, no hands, and he gives the decision.
Connor Braid finds good touch inside the Samoan 22. It's a new halfback pairing for Canada, Connor Braid and Sean White.
Yeah, both very, very exciting players. They were the halfback pairing for us up in North Wales, and you know, they have that ability to manipulate other players into the game. So a shortened line-out from Canada here, looking to bring those back row runners in to tie up some space.
Clean take at the back there, the replacement hooker finding his man. That was Ryan Hamilton. He wears 16 with the red headgear. Pritchard up front, full-back. This is promising. Tyler Hostin brought down 5 meters short, and again Samoa claim it.
Oh, that offloading game, once again, it's so hard to... And a great kick there by one of the front row forwards.
Yeah, lovely hands though from Paolo initially. Carpenter, the captain, the play has broken up, so there could be a half chance here perhaps, but the ball isn't going Canada's way. Certainly not as quick as they would like it to. In goes Fa'asiliva, wearing 23 along with James So'oialo, so no one back there covering for Samoa at the moment. Dropping back is Paul Perez, the right winger.
Yeah, and once again, that Samoan line up so quickly, turning that ball, just those forwards going in and winning the space, and now they've got that turnover ball. And a penalty given away by Canada there because they're under so much pressure. But this is free ball for Samoa. It'll be interesting to see what they do here.
Tusipisi and Leila Mayava was away. Had Mr. Pastrana allowed the advantage.
Number 22.
Now then, we saw a few yellow cards in the first game.
I can understand why if he's going to his pocket, because you know Samoa are trying to play a quick game, and you know Canada are infringing more and more. But you know that's probably not Nick's fault. He's done very well since he's come on. It's just a fact that if you're constantly on the back foot, if you're constantly turning to get back to the breakdown, eventually you're going to give away those decisions.
Yeah, as if they didn't have enough problems already. They're down to 14 men for the next 10 minutes or so. They're looking down the barrel of the gun once again. And the man holding the trigger is James So'oialo.
Yeah, here we come. Cynical that, you know, I think the referee had no decision. Yeah, you know, he stopped potentially, you know, we all say turnover ball is the best ball to play with, you know, he took one for the team, but you've got to be a bit more conspicuous than that.
Yeah, 5 goals from 6 attempts. That's So'oialo's tally.
It's interesting as well that they're taking, even though they're 28 points up, they're taking these kicks, these last 2 kicks at goal, because they're 32 points to 0 up. You would have thought they'll put it in the corner, but they've obviously got one eye on next week. They want to play a test match rugby. They want to get the players used to keeping that scoreboard ticking over, playing that pressure rugby.
And that's exactly what James Soyalo has done. 35 points to 0.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a difficult period, this 10 minutes for Canada. They've just been hanging on by the skin of their teeth in terms of, shutting the Samoans down in this half. But with a man gone, and we've seen the speed of the ball that the Samoans are getting, this could be quite a difficult period for the Canadians.
Personal tally of 15 points for Samoan fullback James So'oyalo, 35 points to 0.
Yeah, and once again we see them just getting that quick ball over the gain line, and that's a great kick.
Well taken though.
Yeah, once again, the physicality of that tackling, going through, winning the space. Oh.
Number 14.
Well, Samoa were there in numbers, but it's Perez who went off his feet. He may have had a shove in the back as well.
Yeah, I think the referee was saying the tackler didn't roll out the way. So, he's being consistent. That's all you can ask for. That is all you can ask for. But at the moment, once again, that Canadian play, very lateral. Not holding up that slide at all.
Second penalty.
So Kieran Crowley has a lot of work to do over the next couple of weeks.
Even it's 35-0, it hasn't been, a rout or anything like that. What you've got to say is the Samoans are playing fantastically well. It's not the Canadians have been bad. The Samoans have really sort of upped their game.
When you consider that the Samoans are without a few of their leading players, and they've certainly laid down a marker here. Some of the second string players, if you like. In goes Alaforti, wearing 23, looking to get his hands on the ball. Carpenter. Sean White.
Yeah, once again the Samoans going in there, slowing that ball down again.
Yeah, disrupting the Canadian possession.
Yeah, it's very, very untidy ball. A lot of Canadian players off their feet, and Samoa have that full defensive line.
Kieran Hearn to Matt Evans. Chauncey O'Toole looks to get the weak shoulder, the inside shoulder of Paul Perez. Good effort here from Chauncey O'Toole.
Yeah, did very well there in the tackle. Once again, Conor Braid attacking that gain line. He's done very well that. A few times he's done that exceptionally well.
Pushing the Islanders backwards. It's O'Toole once again, and once again the trainer is on for Canada.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Some of these hits have been absolutely massive.
Bone shaking, bone jarring, aren't they? In goes Tyler Ardron, 2-3 meters out then from the Samoan try line. Can Canada get a score here? They're down to 14 men. Blevins in the sin bin. Nick Blevins.
Sean White there claiming the try there. I think he probably got that.
TMO, please.
Yeah, he's just holding back there. Mr. Pastrana would probably want confirmation from the TMO, television match official, who is Hugh Lewis.
Yeah, do we see Chauncey O'Toole does really well. I mean, there's a big hit, but main thing, he kept hold of the ball, and that's what you need. A bit more patience by the Canadians there. Conor Braid attacking the line, asking some questions, and then just having that patient build-up. And here we see Sean just coming through.
Yeah, ducking under the tackle.
Yeah, interesting to see. Can't see from that angle, but did very well there.
Well, if you look at the body language from Zach Taulafo, I think he feels that the try has been scored. Let's have a look again.
Was not a warning.
Ooh.
Not so sure.
Yeah, hard to see from that angle if he had control of it or if it hit the line. Does he have control of that ball?
Well, Zach Taulafo's foot got in the way.
Yeah, good. Fine.
You're seeing it at actual speed and then slowing it down. So have Canada claim their first score.
I was playing advantage, so it's a penalty forward. Okay.
Yeah, referee Pastrana playing advantage, knocked forward. As
it's a penalty.
You suspected, Chris, he didn't have full control of the ball.
No, and I also from that angle you couldn't actually see if he'd made the line. And I think that's the right decision to make there. So what do Canada do now? Do they put it in the corner, or do they go for a set scrum? They look like they'll put it into the corner. Their line-up's actually been functioning really, really well.
Well, you wouldn't bank on them going for a scrum, would you?
No, I don't, not at the moment. They've been under a lot of pressure. But what this does, at least by giving a set play, it just pulls in the Samoan forwards, you know, and it allows you then to hit a target midfield. Whether they go for the drive, you know, they have driven pretty well, but it'd be interesting to see what they do.
You know, one Johnson departs for Samoa, another Johnson comes on. That's James Johnson replacing Census. So to the back it goes. That's the best ball. Top of the line, Canada driving forward. Can they control it? They need to retain their concentration, retain their discipline here as well.
Yeah, all the Canadian forwards are off their feet though, unfortunately, which gives that full defensive line.
Not the best of passes from Sean White to Conor Braid, but he was injured, I think, in the effort of trying to claim that try. He got some attention whilst the TMO was making his decision.
Yeah, they'll be disappointed with that, Canada. We saw in the first half how Samoa, when they drove the ball, the drive never died. The ball was always at the back and they were playing it while they were still on the front foot. What happened there? Canada drove that ball and it collapsed. All eight Canadian forwards on their feet, which gave a full Samoan defensive line that time to fly up because they had the numbers and make that offensive tackle and put the pressure on Conor at 10.
Winning his 15th cap for Canada, then that's Andrew Tiedemann. Plays his rugby out in France for the Auch club.
Yeah, well, that's a whole new front row, so obviously they'll be looking, you know, with fresh legs to hopefully sort of stem the tide a little bit. They have been under the cosh on that set piece.
So we're approaching the hour mark, and Canada yet to cross the whitewash, yet to get a score on the board, and the opportunities have been few and far between for James Pritchard. It's a disciplined performance from Samoa.
Very, very disciplined, very organised. That's the thing that's impressed me the most, how organised they've been in the little things like the kick chase, their line out, their set piece. Very, very disciplined and all that. As I say that, they're in front of the kicker and give away a penalty.
Sorry, Chris, that characterised Stephen Betham's coaching philosophy when he was with the Sam squad. He instilled some discipline into the Samoan Sam squad, and which enabled them to claim the World Series in 2010.
Unfortunate mistake there. You know, when you get to this situation, you're 35 points to 0 down. You know, do you go off script and start taking quick taps by yourself, or do you say, well, let's put a scrum down, let's build a phase?
And the big fellas keep on coming. They don't come much bigger than this guy, do they? Joe Takori on for Officer Treviranus into the final quarter then.
Yeah, another sort of Canadian tack died there a little bit. So I think Samoa will be actually looking at this and saying, look, we want to nil them. You know, we want to have a strong defensive, you know, performance tonight.
Takori taking his place on the flank. That's Fosi Lever out into midfield. Taken up by Johnny Leota, the replacement. Quick as a flash there was Robert Lila Mayava. Pritchard just got a foot to it.
And once again, you know, great defensive work. Canada are unlucky to score the try, but great defensive organisation and their exit strategy there by Samoa. They had a good solid set scrum and they played a defensive exit strategy which gave them the opportunity to kick with a bit more time, and they put Canada right back in their own half.
Canada still down to 14 men.
Yeah, they've done well to keep it to 3, but you know, like I say, you never know with Samoa now. They've weathered that storm. You know, from this lineup, they could look to attack and hit that midfield and just go through the phases with that extra man.
Samoa back in Canadian territory, just beyond the Canadian 10-metre line. Canada challenging and winning the line out. But Takori has other ideas, ripping that ball clear. Away it comes through Pisi out to Leota in midfield. Soyalo up from fullback, almost up to the Canadian 22, nudged forward by Alaforti, advantage Canada.
Yeah, once again, great quick ball from the Samoans there, just a spill-in attack.
Carpenter to Kieran Hearn, bundled into touch.
Yeah. Once again, you know, the Canadians just chain passing that ball along the back line, not offering any penetration or offering anything to make the defence check or hold them.
So Blevins is back on, and to their credit, Canada just coughed up that penalty following the incident which saw Blevins dispatched to the sin bin. The game well and truly won, but Samoa will want more.
Yeah, I think Canada will be pleased with that. You know, in that situation, that, you know, while they've been down to 40 men, they probably had their best attacking period with that try that wasn't given. Oh, under a lot of pressure there in that scrum.
The drive coming through and demolishing the Canadian scrum.
Yeah, they worked really well there, the Samoan scrums. They had a slight lead on their loose head, but they kept it just a slight angle up on their loose head, and then it was that secondary drive. You saw the whole back five of the scrum, they dipped and they went again. Really good work by the Samoan pack there.
It's a powerful forward unit, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Now you can see that they're, you know, they understand the intricacies and the importance of that set piece. You know, allied that with just their natural physical power, it makes them a very, very difficult team to play against.
Khan Fotwalihi is the replacement scrum half, plays for the Ospreys region down in Swansea in the south of Wales. He again poses a threat at the base of the scrum, getting some game time in the Samoan shirt. There he is. PC did well to take that around his ears somewhere. There's a Joe Takori. Chopped down just outside the Canadian 10-metre line. Perez.
Yeah, once again getting that quick ball, even though when the ball was knocked back, you know, the power and the ability to regenerate the ball and on the front foot again.
You see the long pass out to Leota in midfield, letting the ball do the work. Lila Mayava, well, he's seen plenty of ball this evening, hasn't he? 3 tries on his debut.
That's better work by Canada, putting some pressure onto the Samoan breakdown. You know, all game it's been about the Samoans getting that quick ball, but that was great work there. What they did, they came up well as a defensive line, they shepherded them across, effective tackle, dropped it down, first man in, put pressure on, and they turned that ball over.
6 and 4.
Yeah, we welcome viewers from the South Sea Islands to this program, coming to you live from Aries Park in Colwyn Bay in North Wales, and our viewers, I'm sure, will be buoyed by the performance of Samoa this evening as they look ahead to the clash with Wales next Friday evening at the Millennium Stadium. Canada making 2 substitutions.
Yeah, see John Phelan's come off. He's had a good game. He's been their sort of go-to man in the line-out. He's stolen a couple of the Samoan ball there, and he's done pretty well around the fringes in terms of his fringe defence. So he'll be pleased with his performance.
Yeah, the man from Sinan de Bellevue and the Rock, Newfoundland. And of course, it's a 2-season season, I suppose, in Canada, isn't it? They play on the West Coast for a while, and then on the East Coast, depending on the weather, of course, of 8.
Yeah, see the physicality into the Samoans are clearing that first man out, giving them that quick ball.
Takori driving hard and low into midfield. They Fotwalihi very quickly. The pop-up pass. James Johnson just treads all over the Canadian players on the ground. They have spins on his heel, offloads to Fahatinga Lemalu.
Yeah, Canada just can't slow this ball down. They just, you know, they can't make an offensive tackle and they can't jackal the ball, and they're having to come in offside.
Advantage Samoa here again. It's that little side kick from PC. Could be another try here, but again, Mr. Pastrana will want a word with the touch judge first.
Try, not try.
I think they had a penalty advantage, but we just saw in that last clip of that attacking phase how quickly the Samoans cleared that first person out for the breakdown and the speed of that ball. Oh, we got it.
4th try. Yeah, from a distance, couldn't quite see whether Lila Mayava had got it, but what an evening he's having. And what a debut. 4 tries for Robert Lila Mayava. Tremendous work.
That's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you very much.
You know, you always know when a team's playing really good rugby is when the wingers are scoring. You know they're going through the phases, they're sucking in the defence, and then they're attacking and they're playing the ball out wide. Really good play, but a fantastic kick as well.
That's a skill, isn't it? Just off the side of his boot.
Slow down again.
Lovely little kick.
We'll ask you the same, please.
Poke from Tusi Pisi. Lila
Okay.
Mayava so quick off the mark.
Any
And
breakdown?
the touch judge was right on the spot. I can't understand why he couldn't give it.
Yeah, I think he was a little bit unsure whether to give it, but
he probably blinked.
He must have blinked. But this could be quite ominous for Canada now. You know, there's 13 minutes to go. Some more fresh legs coming in from the Samoans now. They're really going to go for the jugular. They know they've got a massive game. They want a statement of intent when they go down to the Millennium Stadium next week. They want to go down and say, look, we're here, we mean business. You know, we've got a squad of 30 guys that we feel confident can do the job at international rugby.
And I think that they don't get all that much time together as a squad to train in advance of tours. And Sotialo, that's 17 points now for him for the conversion of Lila Mayala's fourth try. 42 points to 0.
Yeah, I think that's one of the major differences between the Tier 1 and Tier 2 nations is the amount of preparation time. You look at the likes of England, New Zealand and Wales before they go into a World Cup, the amount of time, the agreements with the Premiership or the regions and the All Blacks with the franchises over there, the amount of contact time the coaches get with their teams.
Yeah, player release is becoming a big problem in Europe, of course. Samoa had no such problems in the run-up to this tour. Chauncey O'Toole into the Samoan 22. Can Canada break their duck? That's the question. Eric Wilson is on wearing 21 for Canada.
Yeah, once again, Canada looking to attack, but you know, it's quite lateral. You know, there's no real penetration, and once again, it's slow ball. Nothing wrong with that. It's the effectiveness of that tackle. You know, Samoans here able to keep that ball alive.
Yeah, thanks very much, said Tivani Foma'i. Oh, here's the man, Alafoti Faasiliva. Takes some stopping, I can tell you. He scored the clinching try in the Las Vegas at Sevens to defeat New Zealand. He just barged his way through and over for the try. Very popular player is Alafoti.
Yeah, got a bit loose here, Samoa. They've gone back sort of 10 or 15 metres. What they've got to do is build. You know, Canada's defensive line is very, very weak on the other side, but good little chip over the top.
Taken by Paris, but he takes the tackle from Perez at the same time. Wilson, the offload to Chauncey O'Toole, spins out of the first tackle, gets the ball away. Good work by Chauncey O'Toole. This is better, this is more promising from Canada. The drive downfield and from Ryan Hamilton, the replacement hooker. Canada on a charge here, looking to break their duck. 10 minutes or so remaining. Can they get that elusive score, first score?
But once again, they just slow the ball down, the Samoans, you know, being very cute and streetwise around that breakdown.
That was good work by Conor Braid.
Yeah.
Certainly been impressed by his work tonight.
Yeah, he's a very good player, and what he's got that turner's speed as a 10 that he can interest the defences.
So huge roar then to greet the try from John Moonlight.
Yeah, I'm pleased for the Canadians. You know, they have never given up this evening, and they've worked hard to get that score. You know, they went through some phases. You know, Conor was very good in it. I think the player that's impressed me particularly for the Canadians is Chauncey O'Toole. He's got through an absolute boatload of work. You know, he's taken the hits. He kept on getting back on. He's been the one forward that's made the game line again and again.
He's been very unlucky down at the Ospreys, where he got the likes of Justin Tipuric and Ryan Jones. And Jonathan Thomas and others, not being able to break through to that Ospreys back row.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone to a region where they've got a lot of strength in depth there at the moment. But to me, he's one of those players. I think, you know, he's a great player to have. He's got a fantastic work rate. He's got a great, you know, sort of enthusiasm to learn, and he wants to learn the game. But the thing I've been impressed with is basically the guts he's shown tonight. You know, he's been the one sort of Canadian forward that sort of said, right, let's have a game. I'll take it to you. I'll carry the ball. I'll run hard. I'll tackle hard. He's been very good for them tonight.
So Canada then break their duck into the last 10 minutes. James Pritchard to add the conversion. Some 8 metres in from touch. 5 metres outside the Samoan 22. Drifts wide with the far upright.
Not the best kick of James has ever done. I think the Samoans will be pretty disappointed with themselves. We saw with that little face how it got a little bit ugly, how it got a little bit messy. they sort of went off task. They almost they played undisciplined. They started to almost play like sevens, where what they've done this evening is they've played 15-man rugby.
Wait. Number 2. Off.
So Alafoti Fausiliva, the replacement, has to call it a day.
Wait. What number?
Injured his ankle, I think. Could see as James Pritchard was preparing to take that kick.
There's one player over there.
The trainers were
number 2 off.
massaging his ankle there.
Well, he's certainly done well since he's come on. He's really taken the ball and run hard. But yeah, he just twisted his knee or ankle there as he went in for that tackle.
John Moonlight winning his 5th cap and getting rewarded with a try.
There's still plenty of time for Canada to get another try here. I think they'll be, having sort of one eye on the next week's game. They'll definitely want to finish on a high.
So Blevins sets it up just inside his own 10 meters. Braid taking it up to the Samoan defence. Gets away from the first tackler, struck there by Khan Fotualihi.
Yeah, but once again, Connor showing that sort of sleight of feet to get through and attack that defensive line. But as we see Samoa again, they get that line and they put heat on that breakdown.
Just stepping off the field of play.
Connor taking the quick one. This could be interesting.
Certainly could. That's Faatonia Atangavaya, another sevens exponent. Exciting young player is Atangavaya. Pritchard.
Yeah, he did very well there, and a great offload as well.
Yeah, Viliami Afatia is on, wearing 25 for Samoa, as Canada look for a second score here through a Jeff Hassler. That's a huge kick from Fotualihi.
Yeah, great kick there, just turning the Canadians and saying, right, build again. But, Canada is almost like, well, why didn't they play this early on? Play the ball, go through the faces. You could say, yes, Samoa have made changes and they're a little bit tired, but you've just seen when the Canadians are bringing that offload, a bit of footwork, we've just seen there, a bit of footwork, attacking those edges and getting that quicker ball.
And the ball doesn't flow for them, really, does it? It looks a bit laboured, but this is better from Kieran Hearn. Up to the 10-metre line, looking to get off the pass. Lovely inside pass with Taylor Paris. It's on its way.
Great offload. Really, really not giving in tonight, Canada.
Alan Cabinet. Now that's brought the crowd here at Arias Park to its feet. Could be a second try on here for John Moonlight by the looks of it. He's got Brett Boikaboom in close support. The try is there for Conor Braid, and if anyone deserves a try in the Canadians here tonight, it's that young man, Conor Braid.
Yeah, he's been, like I say, him and Josie O'Toole have been the two sort of standout players. He's been one of the backs to really ask questions of the Samoans backline. But yeah, Canada will be a lot happier with this. But the worrying thing for Samoa is, perhaps, is there a question mark with the fitness when they go down to Wales in terms of picking up that intensity? Canada have kept the ball alive, gone through those phases, and Samoa have sort of fallen off the tackles. Yeah, the game's well and truly won, but if they want to step their game up to the next level, that's the sort of thing they're going to be looking at. I'm sure they'll be disappointed to
I think it's worth making the point that the Samoan players, a lot of them play top-class rugby in Europe or New Zealand, whereas the Canadians, a lot of them play for clubs at home in their own league, and it's can I suggest that perhaps it's the fringe players from Canada, or they play the fringe rugby here at the big clubs in the UK or in Europe?
Yeah, you can certainly see that the Samoans look a lot more streetwise, and they look a lot more organised as well. But like I say, the big thing for me has been just the physicality of that breakdown. And Samoa have absolutely dominated the breakdown. And if in rugby, if you control the breakdown, you control the speed of the ball, your speed, and also you control the speed of the opposition's ball, and that's what they've done really well tonight.
James Pritchard slots his first kick of the night then, converting the try from the Conor Braid, and going into the final few minutes. It's Samoa 42, but look at this little sleight of hand from Kieran Hearn.
Really well, and the winger did fantastically well. Once again, Conor Braid there attacking the line. really pleased for him. He really deserves that, and I'm sure he'd be happy coming back to North Wales. I'm sure there's a few of his old teammates from RGC, you know, they'll be pleased for him.
Yeah, 42-12 it is then. Scoreline with some 3 minutes remaining.
I think Canada have just got to keep on the same tack now. You know, just keep playing this ball with pace, looking to, you know, attack the shoulders of defenders, and, you know, keep asking questions and try and keep the ball alive.
Yeah, Hamilton has looked quite lively since he's come on, the replacement.
Yeah, a few of the players that have come on have certainly added some zip to the game, but once again, another massive tackle there by the Samoans. But this is better by Canada. They're getting over the game line a bit, and the ball's been sped up.
Braid again, spinning out of the tackle.
Yeah, he's done very well again there. You know, the situation, not the greatest pass from the 9, but now Canada have got to do something because they've got no 10. But I think they might have the opportunity to turn this ball over, and Canada could be in trouble now.
Certainly could. Samoa have numbers out wide if they can move the ball quickly. Not that they need to. They've been well in control from the first whistle and that first scrum. Well, it all looked ominous for Canada.
Yeah, I think Canada will be pleased, you know, if they, and that sounds silly, but if they can keep it under 50 and maybe get another try. You know, Samoa have, you know, you can see that they've sort of taken their foot off the gas in the last sort of 10 minutes. Once they got to 40 points, they were definitely ahead.
Yeah, the score's 20-12 in Samoa's favour in the second half. So it's been a better performance from the Canadians, from the Canucks in the second 40, certainly, as the clock ticks down. 5 tries, 4 of those for young left winger Robert Lilomayava. And Samoa can travel south and look forward to the prospect of facing Wales, the Six Nations champions, with great confidence following this performance.
You must go through the gate
Against the Canadians, who come again with 1 minute to go. Then 2 tries in the last few minutes for them. John Moonlight and Connor Braid. Wilson to Braid, looking for the runners. Chip through. A difficult ball for Fotwali to take Perez. The Sevens exponent, plenty of experience there. Back on is Tivani Fomai, running 7. Just a few seconds, Samoa only need